Ordinarily, Abraham would simply enjoy the cacophony of sound and activity surrounding him. This evening is different. His mind is taken by the rite of passage he will hold for his son, Dashtas, who turns 7 in a couple of days. He'll be inaugurated as a shepherd and assume all the responsibilities of a man.
Getty, that's a section from the opening of your Dashtas series. It's a fascinating tale of a young boy coming of age in 1950s Ethiopia. Explain for me the significance of the scene that you just read for us.
Abraham is sitting at the bottom outside his home, and he's watching this shadow creep down the bottom of the field and across the river and up the flanks of the Eastern Mountains. And then he remembers his own childhood. His father was going to hold a similar ceremony for him. But that's not what happened. But he's going to do it for his son. That beginning, that Abraham never had a birthday, that incident reverberated throughout the novels, in fact.
And it is, of course, a series of 4 books so far, all exploring the incredible life of Dashtas as he tries to better understand himself while also tracing the footsteps of Ethiopian history. Why was it so important for you to tell this story about the land of your birth?
The inspiration came really out of my desire to tell an Ethiopian story in the way it has never been told. And a boy leaving his home, his country home, to get a modern education and find a missing 3,000-year-old gold coin, which came from King Solomon. So Ethiopia is portrayed in a very, very complete way in these novels.
And the significance of Dashtas' lineage and these ancient biblical connections that help form the backdrop of these novels, they come with a strong message for readers, don't they? Especially for the next generation.
Dashtas descends from King Solomon, and Dashtas' family owns the second of the 2 coins. There is this prophecy that Dashtas would be born in this place in Ethiopia and will be on a journey to find that second coin. Because when the second coin unites with the first coin, there's going to be an event that's going to impact all humanity. That's actually encoded in the coins. We'll no longer have wars, famine, hunger. All the problems of the world will be eradicated. So Dashtas, in a sense, is destined or chosen to save humanity.
And how would you say that mission manifests itself throughout his early life, which, by the way, isn't short of challenges?
He faces privation, sickness. He's on his own, literally, and trying to accomplish finding that coin, getting an education, at really the goodwill of complete strangers that he meets along the way who support him. And he's highly responsible to his duties and his commitments, the kind of values that are rapidly fading in the world right now. People have become more and more careless. They're not really connected to themselves. They're connected to their devices. But Dashtas is completely different, from a different generation and also from a different world, telling them that we have to have values, we have to have standards, we have to have goals and purposes in life.
And Ethiopia, of course, has an incredibly rich past. It's considered the cradle of humanity, widely accepted as the first Christian country in Africa, and even offered sanctuary to the early followers of Islam when they were persecuted in ancient Mecca. Reflect on how you explore the country's history and links to the Middle East throughout these books.
I'll tell you, there was a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction when I completed the 4th volume of the Dashtas series. Dashtas Roots is what I called it. He carries blood from 2 major different continents, so to speak. Ethiopians straddle 2 worlds, really. There's the Middle East part from ancient Israel and Judah, their Jewish or even Arabic heritage, and there is their African heritage. And that's why we call Habasha. We're mixed people. But Ethiopians don't really even think of themselves as being different. They're just Ethiopians. When you come from a family that are sort of multicolored, I mean, some of my brothers are very, very fair skinned. I'm the only one that are kind of dark skinned. So I used to wonder, where did we come from? So these are all the bloods that percolated down history from thousands of years to the Middle East and to Africa, of course. I ended up going to all this place in history, in the Bible, that King Solomon and David and Zacchaeus and Zadok, the high priest of the Ark of the Covenant, is part of Dashtas' story, is his spiritual guide. All along he was with him, but he didn't know it until the fourth volume.
And these ancient connections that you describe between the two continents, they've been backed up with DNA evidence showing migration from the Middle East into the Horn of Africa. It's been a challenging time for Ethiopia recently. To what extent do you think the country's past, which you explore so beautifully throughout the Dashtas series, could actually serve as a blueprint, if you will, for living together in peace?
There are all these multicultural, multilinguistic, people that have coexisted for thousands of years. Ethiopia will not fall apart, no matter how hard people will try to dismember or fracture it. Yes, there have been conflicts. Yes, there have been wars. But in the end, we're all Ethiopians. We're all one people.